I call the honourable member Jami-Lee Ross.
Mr. Speaker, I can see that the good people of Te Aratua are sitting at home tonight regretting the decision they made a year ago. They sent him here to do great things. They sent him here to make big changes in the world, but actually he came here to save them 50 cents on borrowing a book at their local library. Because that's what Phil Twyford's going to be known for after tonight if this legislation passes, 50 cents at the local library. Mr. Speaker, I want to know why Labor are focusing on the big issues in this economy. You know, we've got some issues to deal with. Their solution is printing money. Right. Their solution is borrowing a whole lot more money. And it's also about looking after the libraries from the Christmas Grinch, from the library Grinch that supposedly is raining down upon local government in New Zealand. Actually, Mr. Speaker, local government will continue to provide libraries at a reasonable cost to their ratepayers, like they have done for a long time. And in fact, if you look at the legislation that this government is passing through the process around local government, it actually talks about good quality local public services. And I absolutely agree that libraries are part of a good local public services regime. And that's why libraries in local authority districts around the country have been operating fairly well for a long period of time without the need for the socialists, without the need for the command and control economists sitting over the other side, coming along and passing legislation to protect something, to protect them from something that's just not even going to happen. Mr. Speaker, libraries in New Zealand provide a great role in local communities. I absolutely agree with that. But there's no need at all for this legislation. There's no need at all for this legislation. Mr. Speaker, the explanatory note talks about public libraries playing an important role in our communities. Absolutely. But swimming pools play an important role in our communities too. Are they now going to bring legislation saying that swimming pools should be free? What about museums? Museums play an important role in local communities. Why don't they have a bill saying museums should be free? What about art galleries? What about hall hire? Mr. Speaker, local authorities do a huge number of things in our local communities that do play an important role, that ratepayers and residents do value. Why aren't they telling us that they should be free too? It's because it costs money. It's because it costs money. And they know that the ratepayers in New Zealand expect their local councils to look after their money sensibly. Mr. Speaker, and there is a cost to it too. There is a cost to it. I've looked through the Auckland plan, which details out the budget. If the Labor Party legislation goes through in the form that's written in, then there will be ratepayers up and down Auckland who will be up for about an extra $5 million. Now, there are ratepayers in Auckland at the moment that are moaning, that are complaining, that are absolutely upset that the Labor Party member, who's the Mayor of Auckland, is imposing huge costs on them. And we've got the opposition on the other side wanting to impose even more costs on ratepayers. The Labor Party doesn't care about ratepayers. The Labor Party cares about ideological solutions to non-problems. Because it is a non-problem. There's no problem here at all. Now I want to talk about some of the services that libraries do provide, because libraries do legitimately charge for some of the more premium services. And by premium services I mean the likes of DVDs. Now when Shane Jones goes to his local library and wants to hire out a DVD, then I'd say that the local library should be quite within its right to charge for it if it's a premium service that ratepayer, maybe Shane Jones could be his name, wants to be utilising. What about CDs? If somebody wants to go to the local library and hire out a CD, I don't see why I should have to go to the local CD shop. I don't see why the local CD shop should have to have his business impacted on because the Labor Party wants to make CDs free.
Order. Sorry to interrupt, Honourable Member. There's been far too much of this tonight, and I've been quite lenient, but the rules permit interjections are predicated on the assumption that the person being interjected on has the call. There are members interjecting on each other rather than the person who's addressing the House, and that's not allowed. Call the Honourable Member Jamie-Lee Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If it makes the House feel any better, I was actually quite enjoying his interjections. They're usually quite comical. They're a lot better than the ones coming from Phil Twyford anyway. But, Mr. Speaker, if there are premium services that the library wants to provide and charge a legitimate and small charge for that, then they should be allowed to, because there are businesses operating probably next door to the local library that will be having their libraries competing with them for free, simply because an ideological solution from the other side has been passed through legislation. And the end result of this legislation, if it passes, actually will be us seeing a reduction in services provided by libraries. Because if libraries and local authorities can't charge for some of these more premium services, they'll simply stop providing them. That's what this legislation does.
I call the honourable member Darian Fenton in reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, first of all, I want to thank the